If you've been playing MLB The Show for years now, you've probably heard the statement,
Be late, be great.
or something of that sort. Today, we actually have some data about MLB 20 with a bunch of in-game swings and stuff I recorded over a span of 10 3-inning games. And we're going to try to argue that, you should be early to be great, not late. What's going on, YouTube? We are back today with another video. I appreciate you all watching. In case you are brand new to the channel, my name's Scann, and today we're bringing a different kind of video. But normally we do a bunch of tips related things, also no money spent stuff, so if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe down below. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting pretty close to 900, which is actually wild, and I appreciate all of you for swinging by the channel. And also we stream on our Twitch channel about 3 to 4 times a week. Link will be down there in the description if you want to check that out. And we have a fun time doing gameplay stuff on there, and we'll see if we can apply the things we learned in this video to our Switch streams on there and our gameplay in MLB 20. And other than that, without further ado, let's just get right into the video. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. Basically, I recorded a bunch of gameplay. You'll see in the background here for now. I played a bunch of event games and a new postseason event, and this event, in case you don't know, is on All-Star difficulty, and it's stadium locked at Petco Park. So we should acknowledge some of the things like this before we talk about our data, because first of all, we were on All-Star difficulty. If you guys know All-Star, it plays a little weird sometimes. I think it should still carry over, because honestly, All-Star difficulty just makes your PCIs bigger, which means you get more good timing swings. So that's one thing to note. Also, it's in Petco Park, so we used exit velocities when measuring our numbers, because exit velocities, it's how hard the balls hit off the bat. It's not going to change based on the stadium. Usually how the ball carries and if it's a homer or not will determine that. We'll talk about that more later on here. So basically, I was playing in game, and every time I had a good contact swing, I wrote down the swing timing and the exit velocity on that specific swing. So whether it was an early foul ball, a late foul ball, a hit, an out, I recorded it on this sheet. We had about 80 swings here with all varying types of exit velocities, and I made a couple charts here, so we'll go through these charts and we'll kind of break them down. So this chart here is the average exit velocity based on early, good, and late. So I kind of bunched up a bunch of these swings together. So just earlies and all of that were classified as earlies. Any sort of good swing or perfect swing is in good, perfect in the middle. And on our right side, a sort of late swing is a late swing, which is very straightforward. In our left side, we have our exit velocity in miles per hour. So you'll see that the ball is going to be hit at a higher exit velocity if you're early and perfect and good than being late on the ball. And it's a pretty drastic difference. If you hit early on the ball, our average exit velocities were about 101 miles per hour. And then on our perfect and good timing swings, about 103 miles per hour or so. And then our late swings, we had a big fall off to 94 miles per hour. And we're going to go more specific, and this isn't the best representation of it, but you'll already see the general trend that, if you're late on the ball, you hit the ball way softer. And, if you're playing Diamond Dynasty, you don't want that. You want to hit the ball as hard as possible. You want to hit more homers. You want to get more extra base hits. I mean, you can play well by being later on the ball. But clearly this shows that late hits don't reward you nearly as good as early and good and perfect swings. And let's look at the more specific data here. So on this chart, we separated it based on the specific timing. So very early, all the specific ones are all on the bottom there. And on the left side, again, we have our average exit velocity in miles per hour. So you'll see some little variness on our left side here. It's not going to be a perfect graph. The ideal graph would be kind of like an upside down V or upside down U, where, we'll get lower exit velocities on very early, and then it goes up, and then it goes back down. It's even on both sides. If this is for a video game standpoint, it would make the most sense for that. But obviously, MLB The Show, it's a baseball simulator, so I assume that they use real baseball numbers to determine this kind of stuff. And if you see here, just looking at the general trend here, we got high velocities on early swings. So we have like 101 miles an hour, high 90s, I think 99 miles an hour, 102 miles per hour here, 101, 107 for perfects, which makes sense. And then the second that you're on the late side of good, you get a drop off to 97 miles per hour. Then you go down some more, you're down to 96 miles per hour if you're just late. and our average exit velocity on being late is 90. And this might be a little confusing to some. It's tough to decipher this data if you aren't really comfortable with graphs, but I'm going to kind of summarize this for you and break down what this means for our games in MLB The Show. So basically what this is saying, obviously perfects can get rewarded the most. You hit the ball the hardest when you hit a perfect swing, which makes the most sense, and it's showing, it's a great addition, and, it's working out as intended, because perfect should be hit the hardest if you're getting perfect swing timing and perfect PCI placement. But if you're looking at more of this, if you're just on the early side of good, you're still hitting the ball 101 miles per hour on average, 102 miles per hour on average. If you're early on the ball, you still hit the ball 99. And if you're very early on the ball, you can hit the ball on average 101. And there are a couple things to also note with this is that, a ton of these very early swings were foul balls. You're very early on an inside fastball. You're going to hit the ball harder than being very early on an away fastball. But, it's still worth noting that there is a potential discrepancy here. But if you see this correctly, there are a ton of higher velocity swings on early hits. And you look at the second you're just late and just on the late side of good, this is a big drop off. This is like a big deal. Like there's nearly like a 5 mile per hour difference in being early than good. And for a video game standpoint, this kind of doesn't make sense because, if you think about it, if you're just half a second late on a swing, that should probably be the same kind of outcome as being half a second early on a swing, theoretically, just from a video game standpoint. But this is baseball, and you think about the logic of playing baseball. I'm pretty sure this is how it works. You can comment down below if I'm wrong. But basically, when you're swinging a bat and you're early on the ball, you got most of your strength through your swing. Like your body is moving through the ball. Your arms are extended or fully through the ball, and you're just on the back end of your swing. So you probably do hit the ball harder. And also, there's a reason MLB players try to pull the ball, because it's easier for them to hit the ball harder on their pull side than, say, trying to hit the ball to the opposite field. So, like, when you're looking at this chart, this kind of makes sense if you're comparing to real-life baseball, because, it's harder to hit homers to the opposite side of the field and being later on your swings than it is to pull. And if you're later on a swing, obviously that means you're early on in your swing path, your body's not fully into your swing yet. And if you're later on a swing, it's almost like trying to hit a ball to the opposite field if it's, say, right down the middle. So when you're looking at this data, it makes sense how it is that way. It's weird to see in a video game sometimes, because you see how high those exit velocities are for perfects and the sudden drop off if you're just late? It seems like it's a little too far off. If this were an ideal graph, this point here where you're just on the late side of good should be a little higher. You want to be rewarded still for being just late on the ball. Like, this is such a minuscule difference on this swing. It's just like, it's a drastic difference. Like, for just being late on the ball. If you're just early on the ball, you hit the ball nearly 5 miles per hour faster on average than being just a tad late. And, if you look at real baseball games, like, are you going to really hit the ball that much softer if you're, say, just like a tiny bit different in your swing? I don't think so. So, I think this is just some weird imbalance with MLB 20. And if there's one thing I want to see next year, I want to see that a little more equal. But, obviously, I don't think we're going to get much hitting patch at this point here. I assume SDS is working a ton on MLB 20. So, there'll be some people in the chat be like,
Oh, this game is so broken. Someone just fix this damn game already. I just want to play ranked and not lose to crappy players.
Someone in the comments is at least thinking that right now. I'll tell you right now, please don't type it. I'm trying to be realistic here. They're just probably focusing on the new release MLB 21 on PS5 and all that. And ideally, they could maybe rework the hitting engine so this isn't an issue and stuff like that. And if you're playing this game, a lot of the reasons you might be getting these good lineouts is because you might be on the late side of the ball consistently, and we can kind of adjust our gameplay when we play to try to avoid this issue at all costs. And basically, we want to try to be earlier on the ball rather than late, which, might sound weird. Like, you don't want to try to swing early on every swing. That doesn't really make much sense when perfect is the most desired outcome. It kind of makes sense to try to be earlier on the ball. If you're looking at this velocity chart here, if you are just late on the ball, you'll hit the ball significantly softer, which means less extra base hits, and less hits is very likely. You have higher exit velocities, you're probably more likely to hit more homers, more extra base hits. So when you're playing this game, it's very important to be able to time up your fastball. The fastballs are the fastest pitches you see. You can't be late on those. You have to try to be able to hit those fastballs, those sinkers, those cutters, because those are going to be the fastest pitches that you see out of a pitcher's hand. If you're even just late on them, you'll see here, you get punished for it. So if you haven't seen my hitting tips video, I kind of talked about this kind of thing before I knew about this. But basically, you just want to sit dead red fastball when you're hitting. You never want to let a fastball beat you. When you're taking batting practice, try to be sure to be timing up those fastballs well and then slow down yourself for the breaking balls. It's easier to sit fastball and then slow down yourself than sit on a curveball and then suddenly speed up for a fastball. So in this game, it's definitely worth doing that, especially looking at this chart. Because, even if you are earlier on a breaking ball, you'll probably hit it harder than being later on it. That's what I suggest doing. If you want to see more tips for that, make sure to check out the hitting tips video that I have linked up there. It'll help a ton. A ton of people said it helped them. And, I think it could help you guys as well if you are concerned about this specific issue. And other than that, being just late or any sort of late on the swing significantly makes you hit the ball less hard, which is a no-go, not good. Being earlier on the ball rewards you far more than being later. And also, perfect still rewards you the most. So if there's anything to take away from this, is you'd rather be early on the ball than late. Always try to be early or good timing on the ball. Be on that side of the spectrum. If you're late on the ball, you're going to struggle very hard, I promise you. Looking at this data too just reinforces that. And if you have any more questions, you want to see more hitting tips, again, check out the hitting tips video. And feel free to ask in the comments down below or in the Twitch channel as well. And I would love to see you guys there. I appreciate you all sitting. Hope you enjoyed it. I would love to do more of this kind of stuff again. And yeah, have a great day, and I will see you later on in the channel. Deuces. It's been a couple days since they've released it. Feels like just yesterday that they released it for me. But come on, Eddie. Oh my god, Eddie, man. Eddie wants to be on the team, chat. Eddie wants to be on the team. JT's replaying it. That was a freaking nuke, dude. 1 for JT, 2 for Godly. Wow. Eddie Matthews. I think I'm going to start this dude, chat. He's freaking insane. Freaking Madman returns.